All right, well, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I don't know about you, but this is probably going to be my favorite time is a Q&A session. So thank you guys for submitting your questions, and also know that this is going to be recorded. So if you guys wouldn't mind introducing yourselves, and you'll be looking at this camera over here. Yeah, you're going to introduce yourself to the camera because it's going to actually go on our YouTube page right over here.
Hey y'all, my name is good. There we go. Hey y'all, my name is Cruz Armides. I pastor and lead at an incredible church in El Paso, Texas, and I have this incredible honor of being in Del Rio, Texas, at Access Activate Conference. Which shameless plug, next year you should be in the room in Del Rio or Eagle Pass, wherever we have it. But you should be in the room. Glad to be here.
God bless you. My name is Ruben Ramirez. I am the least of these on this couch, and I consider it a high honor for me to be here, to be included in this group that will help us find new traction for our leadership. A little bit about me. I'm a business owner. We have a couple of businesses that God has granted us to steward. We do it together, we do it collectively, Vanessa and I. But my most favorite business right now is coaching and mentoring, RMZ Communications. And God has blessed me to be in rooms with some of the best people on the planet that are kingdom-minded. And two of them, one on my left, one on my right. So this is a high, high honor for me to be here and to be included in this group. And let's grow. Most people say, let's go. Let's grow.
Hey everybody, my name is Pastor Brian. I'm home. I get to pastor the most incredible church with the most incredible people, and I am so honored to be here with two of the greatest leadership minds that I know. The leadership acuity on this couch is off the charts, and I hope you guys are ready to learn and receive. As Doc said, let's grow.
All right, well, let's get started. All right, I'm going to ask you guys different questions, but if you feel like you want to add in someone else's question, just go for it. All right, for Pastor Cruz, this is for you. What is a leader, and what does each leadership role in church look like?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of different perspectives. If you want to go the John Maxwell perspective, a leader is anyone who has influence. One of the things that I think we should not do, Vicky, is confuse title with leadership. You can have a title and not be a leader, and you can have no title and be a leader. I was taught this, that the real leader is in the room is the one that everyone goes to ask for perspective, etc. So I think, first of all, we're all leading. We're all leading something. We're leading ourselves. We're leading our families. And then eventually the Lord will grow you and you'll be trusted with people. Now, you asked the question, what is a leader and what is their role in a church? At the end of the day, I think the fundamental role of any leader in the body of Christ and in a community of faith like this one, Jesus said it this way. When his friends, the disciples, were kind of bickering about what a leader is, because they had the perspective and the mentality that sometimes we get, that the leader is one who's the greatest one, the smartest one, the one who's in charge. And sometimes that's true. But Jesus heard them bickering, and then so when he asked them and he said, hey, what were y'all talking about? They asked a really interesting question. The question was, well, we were trying to figure out who the greatest one is. Now, a different gospel points out this, where two of the brothers that were disciples brought their mom to lunch. And they sat their mom next to Jesus. And they said, hey, you ask him which one's the greatest one. And so she was saying, hey, which one of my sons is going to be sitting next to you? And either way, whichever story you like, Jesus paints this picture. He says, the greatest among you, the leader among you, is the one who's willing to serve all and is willing to make himself the least important. So the most important one is who makes himself least important. The one who is the greatest among you is the one who serves all. And I think any of us who carry a perspective or a role of leadership, our role at the end of the day is to serve all of God's people and to serve them well. Whatever it is that my hand finds to do, if I'm leading ushers, if I'm leading worship, if I'm leading media, if I'm leading parking lot, if I'm leading youth and young adults, whatever it is, it's to serve the people of God and to serve the vision and the mission of our church. Yep.
That's really good. Dr. Rubin, following up with that, what would you say is a leader's responsibility? We got a question that says, how can leaders know what they're responsible for and what they're not?
Let me cancel this call. I'll deal with you later. Say that one more time because my mind was already prefabbing an answer, and I want to answer what God wants me to answer.
How can leaders know what they're responsible for and what they're not?
You know, if you see a piece of paper on the ground, stop saying facilities. Stop radio in, chiming in, saying facilities. Don't think of yourself so highly that you become an invalid to doing the little things.
Yeah.
You know that when you're growing, growth means stretching. And I don't like to be stretched. I want to be stretched with care, with concern, with understanding. Why? Because I just don't like to be stretched. If you're a leader, whether it's marketplace leadership, in-house leadership, intern leadership, regardless of where you're at, you are the epistle that people are reading, that the gospel will make sense to them when you're living up to it. Capacity is one of my most favorite subjects to talk about. People who want to doesn't mean they're going to get there. It's people who do something, the right activity, the right disciplines, taking feedback. Man, that's going to help our marriage. We've been married 30 years. But there's the only room I have, the only room I'll ever be in is the room for improvement. Take it from me. you know, take that from me. You want to honor this guy? Lead yourself. Lead yourself to grow. There's so much to do for the kingdom of God. And you are required. You're not essential. You are required. Let me end my comment by saying this. Church leadership is not for everybody. Why? We're dealing with people. I appreciate the candidness here when he says, you know, I don't do counseling because I don't like people. Can I tell you that if you don't like people, don't be a freaking greeter, please. If you don't like people, put on sunblock that's parked cars. Come on. You're not above doing even that.
Right.
A quick story. Vanessa, a few years ago, she says, Rube, I'm going to join the parking team. And I says, why? You want to be on the golf cart? You want to wear the safety vest? Why? She goes, you know what her answer was? I want to help people get into the church, into the building with a smile on their face.
That's great.
It's not what you do, it's always how you do it. In the sales world, it's called deliverables. It's how you deliver. So I want to say this. Church leadership is not for everybody, but leadership is. And the best leadership place you could ever be is lead yourself.
Can I share something on that too? I apologize for whoever submitted that question, but I can't help but see the essence of that question is more along the lines is, what am I in charge of? That's what I see that question. What am I in charge of and what am I not in charge of? And if that's your mindset, then you're not ready to lead. I always say, you'll hear me say, that immaturity perceives authority as control. And so if your mind, well, what am I in charge of, or what am I not in charge of? Because the honest answer, what does a leader do in church, and what do they not do? They do everything. If you're a leader in church, you do everything. That's what leaders. Servant of all and servant of everything.
It's great. Make it plain.
That's really great.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I got to tag onto this. Gift-orientated ministry is crucial for the growth of Access Church. It is. We got to find your niche. We got to find your niche. Watch this. We got to find the niche within the niche. We got to find what your sweet spot is. But guess what, guys? Until we find it, we do everything. Until we find it, until we go to medical school and get a specialty certificate, we are going to do it all.
So I think the difference in connotation here is you serve with your gift, but you lead in everything.
That's very good. Very well said.
You serve with your gift, but you lead in everything.
That's brilliant.
Very good. Very well said.
What would you, going on with what you're talking about gifts, a lot of the questions were like, well, how do I discover my gifts, or how do I develop that? What would you encourage them to start, where to start with that?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
It's a hallway, and the hallway is glassed walled. While you're serving Jesus and you're doing what you do, let the peripherals be what they are. You're not ignorant to what's happening around you, but the things that make you tick, the things that excite you, the things that cause you to have a conversation with yourself, I can do better than that. I want to tell you, if I'm included in that conversation, then what are you doing about it? What are you doing about it? And then it takes you to the next place of development. Just because you have a strong desire doesn't mean you're going to kick it. Very good. It doesn't mean that you're God's man for the plan.
I have a desire to lead worship. Just because you have a desire doesn't mean you have a gift. And there's so many people who are frustrated because they have great desires but misplaced focus, right? Adding to what you said, Dr. Ramirez, I mean, to me it's simple. A gift makes room for you, according to the book of Proverbs. A gift makes room for you. If you keep running into walls in places that you say you're gifted and there's no room being made for you, you're probably not who you think you are. That's, I mean, to me, it's plain and simple in that, right? Like proof positive. People keep making room for you, inviting you in terms of that. And so I think looking for constant opportunity that's invited to you, right? Because here's what will happen. People will think they're gifted, and they'll come to a church like this. Now, there's a, okay, here we go. You'll go to churches that are desperate, and they just throw bodies at anything. Access Church is not desperate. We're intentional. And whatever your leadership context is, right, and many of you that are watching now may not be in Del Rio or at Access, so wherever your leadership context is, there's a difference between being desperate and being intentional. And when you're intentional, I'm not going to be, we were just talking about this, Brian, I'm not going to be held hostage, right? I'm not going to be so desperate that I'm just throwing anyone at a platform and anyone at a place or a room, right? And so there's a difference between being gifted and just being placed, or what I was going to say is there's needy people and needy leaders who will call you gifted because they just want to throw you in a place. Does that make sense? Right? But if you're able to look at the wake of your leadership or the wake of your activity, and there's just constant growth and opportunity. Psalm 90, 17 says it this way: Lord, let your grace and your favor confirm the work of my hands. Right? If I consistently see grace and favor, then I know my hands are on the right thing, and I know I have a gift for that. Right? There's purpose behind it. But if there's constantly, again, I said it earlier, running into walls, or, oh, I'm offended and I'm leaving that place because they didn't recognize my gift. Right? And you're just bouncing around. What's happening? No room is being made for you because eventually you showed us who you really are. Right? And you're not gifted in that. I'll come back to what I said. I have a desire to lead worship. I have no gift and no business singing.
You know, Pastor Cruz, there's several kinds, several profiles, let me use that terminology, of leaders. And the one that frustrates me the most is nomadic leaders. Those that don't know how to park it and grow. It's those people that because you don't recognize who I am, oh, I can preach better than you. I can preach better than Pastor Brian. And I'm thinking, well, you know what? You don't know what it cost for Pastor Brian to have the right and the responsibility to be the lead voice in this organization. You don't know the cost. If you knew some of the stuff, you would be nomadic. You would go try to find somewhere else, see if you fit, see if I'm the right chemistry for that team. You know, at the end of the day, it's okay to park capacity, right? Some of us in here who have been with the church the 7 years, if someone comes and outshines you, you ought to be praising the Lord because God heard your prayer because of all the hours and hours and hours.
I think that's a word right there because people will say, "Oh, I just want to serve the house," right? It's like, no, what it is I just want a microphone, or I just want to be on display, or I want to be on spotlight. And then when someone better than me, can we be honest? Someone with more capacity than me shows up, all of a sudden I don't want the best for the house because I'm no longer the best for the house.
You become the house.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
You become your own house. You become self-centered. And you know, church wounds, guys, if you're here, you came here, God brought you here, and you got church wounds, let's lay hands on you and let's take over, let's get over it. Why? Why? Because you deserve the best opportunity to find your spot in the body of Christ and function with your gifts, function with your passions, and let's get you to a place where you can grow.
It's very good. You know, just one. I think maybe one last thought on the thought of you're asking about gifting. Proverbs says a man's gift will make room for him. Right? So the question then becomes, what do we get when we get you, not just your gift? Because I'm around gifted people all the time, and I've learned this, that sometimes gifted people aren't the best people. Right? What do we get when we get you? And what happens is, we were talking about this in the prior session, right? If all I am is about my gift, I haven't separated myself from my performance. So I'll you coach a little bit. I'll throw this out. I don't share this out too openly or too publicly, but I get the opportunity to speak into the lives of several professional athletes that I've known for a long time, since they were like teenagers. And what's interesting, we're talking about showing up somewhere that the best of the best is there, right? These guys are playing NBA, NFL. And there's this shock that hits them when they get to the most elite level, where in high school you were standout. Like in college, you're still standing out. But now you're in a place where all the best of the best are there, and all of your gift and all your talent is a dime a dozen. And so I remember talking with a couple of my guys, and essentially they hit this point. They weren't starters. Some of them were like practice squad. And they had an existential crisis. Why am I here? And I said, this point exactly right here, in some way, shape, or form. Your gift made room for you in that locker room, at those meetings. What do we get when we get you? Because that's going to change the game, right? And so now, I've got an opportunity to coach them this way. Like, you're a man of the gospel. Carry the gospel. Carry integrity. Carry wisdom. And that's going to make you shine. And there's a friend of mine, and I'll brag about him. This is a big deal. He sent me a picture last night. First time in pads, he on his new team just signed $27 million 3 years with the New York Giants, right? Hallelujah. I'm like, send an offering. I'm just kidding. I would never. And I said, hey, what are you really proud of? And he said, I'm really proud of not just that I'm starting in this new season. He said, I've already started establishing conversation with younger players on their faith and their families. Right? And I'm just like, that's why you're there. The gift is football. Right? Or the talent is football, the gift is you. Don't confuse talent and gift. Two different things.
So, Pastor Cruz, what I'm hearing is this. If your gift will make a way for you, will open doors for you, character is what keeps you there.
Sustains you, absolutely. But understanding it.
Yeah, let me use another word. If how you're built, how you're wired, got you in the room, development needs to start. You see, when science ends, discovery restarts. What is science? It's when you got a system down and you understand it and you got it. But when you've done what you got, what you understand, and you ain't going nowhere, it's time to rediscover. There's gaps. Where do I need to fill the gap? And it's always going to be on personal development. Stop trying, stop blaming, stop giving the responsibility to Pastor Brian to grow you. Grow you. Grow you. Now let me say it this way. Your gift will make room for you. But it's your growth that will keep you there in multiplicity, where you can multiply who you are in other people. Because, leading is hard sometimes when you're out there like a Moses and you look left and you look right and no one's there with you. You look back and there's a bunch of responsibility following you all over the desert. Leadership can be like that, but he learned quickly and he adapted. Where he took the Amalekites on, where he says, you know what? I've got somebody on the left. I got somebody on the right. Hey, guys, when I get tired, don't let me belly out. When I get tired, make sure that my hands are in the right posture. It's up to you. You got to develop that. You make disciples. They're not born. And the greatest discipleship you'll ever grow is yourself. Your character will take you in the room. Your gift will take you in the room, but it's your character that keeps you in the room.
This is what you get when you get a bunch of preachers, right, together. Let me bring it practical to what Pastor Cruz was saying about, the gift but what do we get with you is, let's say God brings you here to sing, but what do you bring when you're not singing? God brings you here to preach, but what do you contribute? What do you bring when you're not preaching? What do we get when we get you? When you're not on the platform, what are you contributing?
That's really good.
Thank you for making it plain.
Speaking on growing and character, what were some non-negotiables, and this is for all of you, that you applied in your life to help you grow into the leader that you are today?
I use my competitiveness as fuel to grow. 5 books a month is my reading habit. I'll outread any of you in the room. And the type of memory I have, I remember the page 66, paragraph possibly number 2, sentence number 3. Why? Because I'm not reading just to be a reader. I'm reading to be a leader. Right? Those are some non-negotiables. I still do it. I downloaded a book that Hugh recommended yesterday already, and that's what I woke up doing. Was reading. I'm through chapter 3 already. How history will repeat itself, and it's a generational cadence and I've never heard of that book. So I'm not going to stay behind. I'm going to know more than anybody in this room about anything. That's my attitude.
My response is very self-serving. After your response, I'm going to make you look ungodly. For real, be super spiritual. But this is honest. Currently today, a non-negotiable for me has to be humility. Has to be. He gives grace to the humble, but he resists the proud. And I think that humility keeps you hungry. Humility keeps you hustling. Humility keeps you holy. Humility keeps you whole. Humility keeps your feet on the ground. Humility keeps you asking the right questions and praying for the right things. King Solomon, when he took the throne, he was so not ready to lead, where his dad said to his advisors, remember this? Hey, when I die and he takes the crown, don't abandon him. Don't leave him. Serve him well. If you love me, serve him well. And there was a moment where the Lord comes to Solomon in a vision or a dream and says, hey, ask me for anything, and I'll give it to you. And he has the humility to ask for wisdom. And he says, Lord, give me the wisdom so that I can lead the people that you've trusted me with, lead them well. And the Lord said, because you've asked me for this thing, I'll withhold nothing else from you. And you look at the life of Solomon. And so humility keeps you with an honest perspective of yourself, which drives the reading, and it drives the growth, and it drives the ability to continue to grow, right? Humility keeps you honest with yourself. And so I heard Bishop Jakes say this years ago, Bishop T.D. Jakes, who's an incredible, not just pastor and man of God, but he's an incredible businessman and thinker. And someone asked him once, they said, you transcended from the church space into a different market. Now you work global philanthropy, and you're a movie executive, and on and on. You do real estate, blah, 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 blah. And they said, how do you keep growing? Right? Similar question to what you asked. And he made this statement, and it blessed me. And just see the humility again. So I'm bringing about, and I'm redeeming what you said. He said, I know that I don't know everything. Humility, right? He said, but I know this, that as long as I can pray and read, I'll figure anything out. As long as I can pray and read, I'll figure anything out. So
paradoxical term is this. Confidence, right? Joshua was told, be strong and courageous. Those two words equate to what confidence is. My confidence is not in me. My confidence is in him, the creator of who I am. And if I'm going to boast, I'm going to boast in the Lord. Because what I have is because it's a gift. He's given me a gift. What am I doing with it? If a gift makes room for you, guess what? The gift he's given me has made room for him. And if he is most in my life, it's confidence, guys. It's not arrogance. It's faith. Faith with corresponding actions. One of my most favorite stories to tell is I learn from a dog. Vanessa speaks dog, I don't. She understands what they want. Es que quiere agüita. How did you interpret that? From those noises that four-legged beast made. You know, she speaks dog. You know what I've learned, and I spoke this here a couple years ago. You know what I've learned is to speak God. And with him, there's nothing impossible. With him, there's no excuse. With him, all there is growth, and everything I do prospers. You know what? If it's delighting myself in the Lord, and he starts giving me the desires he wants for me to do for him, you need confidence, baby. Because you can't do that with a feeble spine. You can only do that with someone who knows what he's doing. The world will make a way for you. They'll open doors for you. There.
No pressure after these two guys speak, right? There's, for me, non-negotiable. One is stay close to God. Stay close to God. And I realize the closer I get to God, the more I realize I need him. The less self-sufficient I am, which means the more I need to stay close to him. So the closer I get, gives me the epiphany of the more I need to be close to him. And it just all comes from there.
With growth comes a distinction of dependency. Being dependent on God has its place. Watch this. Being independent from God has its place. There's stuff you don't have to pray about, just do. Why are you bothering the busiest person on the universe? So that you can do this little thing? No, get the little thing done, check, let's go. What else is there to do? Right? Dependency. Independent from him. But my favorite place to be is what my pastor just described, and that's that interdependence. I was on a podcast, some of you guys know Keenan Clark, podcast with him, and he asked the question, hey, Doc, do you hear from God every day? You know, I had to stop the mouth and think. I'm answering this. No telling who this is going to land. And I says, I don't hear from God every day. I don't hear from God every day, guys. I don't. You know why? I don't need to. I know he's with me. I'm not this insecure believer. I walk on water. I see him through the storm. I approach him. I keep my eyes on him, the author and the consumer of my faith. Then I said this. I don't have to hear from him every day. I don't hear him every day. I just don't want to miss his whispers. And I think that's where interdependence is. There's times to be independent. There's times to be dependent on him. But the best place to be in is interdependence with him. That I know when to go to him, and I know when it's up to me. I don't need him. I got this, Jesus. Watch this.
Can I define how I stay close to God? Staying close to God, the word in prayer. Also, I stay close to God by being submitted to my pastor. Having Paul's in my life and being connected to Barnabas's. That's how I say. See, a lot of times we want to stay close to God just on ourselves in prayer, but God also uses people. So I can't say that I'm close to God if I'm not submitted to my pastor, and I'm not submitted to the voices of authority and mentoring, the Pauls that God has put in my life, and I'm not willing to receive back from Barnabas's, those colleagues that God has put in my life. That's how I stay close to God.
Really good. Before we wrap up, I would just like for each of you to just share to anybody here or watching online, what would just be that one thing, if they didn't get anything else, what would be that one thing that you would like to share to each leader watching today?
The one thing that I would recommend to every leader in development, this is not just for leaders that are stuck, that are rancid, that are toxic. They're in a position and the position is bigger than their heart. I'm not talking about that guy right there. I'm talking about the guy that's in it to have a relationship with the Lord, that values what he says and value what I regurgitate to him. That's the guy I want to give this one tip to. This right here. Is create an environment and a space where your heart becomes soil and it doesn't say stuck on dirt status. Remain soil so that the seeds that he gives to the earth, you're not just a candidate to receive what he wants to do on the earth, but you're the only choice he has in the 956. Oh, what is this? Zip 830. I'm sorry.
The disrespect.
One job.
Right? It's for you to be ready.
Can we cut that out?
Houston, we got a problem. Right? Is be that person that God chooses who to plant this seed, this idea, this invention, this business idea, this amazing growth engine for discipleship. Be the soil that God uses. And the only way I know to be there is to give yourself to him. Honestly, de verdad. My tip is lean in. Give yourself to him.
That's very good. Okay. This is super practical. It's how I approach my leadership as a father, as a husband, as a pastor in business. We do stuff on the side as well. Psalm 78:72 says of King David, and he led them with skill of hand and integrity of heart. You need both. You need both skill and integrity. A lot of times people will double down on skill but lose integrity. Right, and so like we were saying earlier, skill will grow something, but it becomes unsustainable because the mortar is not there, the mortar of integrity that makes something sustainable and durable. And then there are people who have great hearts but poor development. And they have integrity of heart, but they don't double down or invest in the skill of their hands. And so as a leader who is going to be like David after God's own heart, whether you lead a marketplace or in ministry, Psalm 78:72, you need both hands. And you need to look at the calling that God gave you. Let's just make it super simple and just say you're going to catch these hands. You're going to catch both my hands. In one hand, I have the skill, and the other one, I have my heart. And lead with both. A pure heart, clean hands, skillful hands. David would pray, teach my hands to do war. Right? And he was a musician, because he would say, teach my hands to do war. Right? But keep my heart, created me a clean heart, oh God. He always obsessed over his hands and his heart. And as a leader, you should too. Yeah.
What he said. Ditto. That's exactly what I was going to say. Wow. Yeah, but. Nah, just kidding.
Is it, to piggyback on what he said.
To piggyback. Yeah, but what they said, let me just say, take responsibility for yourself. As Doc said it, Pastor Cruz said it, is that we live in a generation where we want to find someone to blame. We want to find someone to blame. Take responsibility for your life, Take responsibility for your relationships, take responsibility for your ministry, your leadership, and quit blaming everybody else. You'll never get anywhere playing the blame game. Life, what's that adage is life is 90% or 10% of what happens and 90% how you respond. You have to take responsibility. You can't go and change the past, but you can change the now, will change your future. And so if I would tell a leader, take responsibility for yourself. If you want to grow, if you want to go, if you want to get better, quit waiting for someone else to do it for you. Do it yourself.
Thank you guys so much. It was just so profound. And I do have just one more question that somebody submitted. And I'm like, you know what, let me just go for it. How much can y'all deadlift? Deadlift. How much weight can you deadlift?
How much weight can you deadlift?
Oh, sorry, Pastor Brian.
I was ready. I'm all ready to answer.
You
Go
can
ahead.
answer that. What he said. What he said. I think we know who the
That's-
deadlifting champion on the couch is. Okay?
That's hilarious. Pastor Brian wins for sure. Before I answer that question, Vicky, I think you're doing a wonderful job with this panel. I'm really proud of you. Great job. Really, really great job. At this age, in my dad bod era, man, I don't know. That is an excuse. I haven't one repped maxed in a long time, but I can rep 5'7" at like 475, 495. Deadlift. You know? Most ever, most ever, I'll flex. I'll win I win on this. When you talk about competition, I'll let it out. I win this one. Like most ever was right around like 580. Most ever, 585, most ever. Yeah, most ever. So I'm 45, you know, so now it's like, what? I don't need to do all that. What am I trying to prove?
Me either.
Trying to keep my back.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
I can deadlift 3.5 grandchildren.
We'll take that.
That's brilliant.
I just spent 5 days with them a couple of weeks ago. And I didn't do nothing on my phone. I didn't do anything. But they're active children. And at one point, I felt like a tree that they would just hang on.
Yep.
Right? But you know, it's more than that. It's way more than that. It's way more than what you can lift. Let me change the words right here. It's way more than what you can give. It always comes down to what you have. And what you have is a heart. And what you have is the ability to grow to do the beast thing over here, 500, whatever. I texted my daughter, how much do the kids weigh? I want to answer this as practical as I could. But she hasn't responded yet. But it always comes down to this. I'm so proud of what you can do. Be proud of yourself. That's a big thing for me. So how many pounds can I do? I don't have an answer. All I have is pictures if you want to see them. But I can do 3.5 of them because at 4 I'm maxed out.
That's beautiful. I still win, for the record. I
Unless
still
Pastor
win.
Brian,
I
gonna
still
throw out
win.
your number?
You haven't picked up Micah.
The future Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah. I don't deadlift, I live lift, and that's Micah. But no, I've never deadlifted in my life, so. And it shows.
You cut the words out of my mouth. I was about to say that. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, but thank you guys. It's just such a privilege, such an honor to have you all. And thank you everybody for staying with us. But remember that we'll be back at 2:30 tonight. This afternoon with Dr. Ruben. So please join us back at 2:30, guys. Thank you.